Jinha walked into the big meeting room. His face had many scars from old battles. He was shaking a little, but not from fear. He was angry and scared for everyone in the galaxy. The room was full of important aliens from different planets. They all ruled the Galactic Empire together. They looked at Jinha like he was crazy. "Listen to me," Jinha said loudly. "I went to Earth. I saw the humans fight. They are not what you think they are." Some aliens started laughing. A big blue alien, named Veltrak, smiled. "Jinha, you were a good soldier, but now you sound silly. Humans are weak, they can barely fly to their own moon." "That's why they are dangerous," Jinha shouted. "I watched one human woman named Ha-Rin fight our best soldiers for 3 days. She had no fancy weapons, just her will to never give up." More aliens laughed. They thought Jinha was telling stories. Admiral Kethmore stood up. He was very tall and scary. "Jinha, maybe the stress of war hurt your mind. Humans can't be that strong." Jinha's eyes burned with anger. "You want proof? I'll tell you what I saw. We attacked a human town. A worker named Quan turned their digging machines into weapons. In 6 hours, he made tools that destroyed our war robots. Our best engineers couldn't copy his work in 6 months. So they're clever," Veltrak said with a mean smile. "That doesn't make them dangerous to the Empire." "They don't just learn," Jinha said, his voice getting louder. "They change during battle. I watched human soldiers change how they fight while fighting. They learned from our mistakes faster than we could make them." The oldest alien in the room was the Supreme Chancellor. He had been quiet, but now he spoke. "Jinha, we understand your worry. But we're already sending 50,000 ships to take over Earth. That's enough to conquer 100 worlds." Jinha's face went white. 50,000, Chancellor, that's not enough ships." Everyone went quiet. No one could believe what Jinha just said. "Not enough?" Admiral Kethmore said slowly. "Jinha, that army could destroy entire star systems." "Not Earth," Jinha said quietly. "Not humans. They have something we forgot. They have fire inside them. Every human is ready to fight. Every human child knows stories about winning when winning was impossible. They never give up." The Chancellor looked angry. "You're talking about old stories, Jinha. Fairy tales." "I'm talking about truth," Jinha said back. "On Earth, those stories become real. They have legends about one warrior beating whole armies. We think these are just stories. They think these are lessons on how to fight." Jinha remembered Ha-Rin. She was bloody and tired after 3 days of fighting, but she was still standing. Her eyes had a fire that no weapon could kill. "I saw what happens when humans can't escape," Jinha continued. His voice was now very quiet, but everyone could hear him. "They don't break. They become something more dangerous than we can imagine. They become truly human." Some aliens looked worried now, but others still laughed. "What do you want us to do?" the Chancellor asked. "Stop the invasion," Jinha begged. "Make friends with them instead of trying to conquer them. Show them respect, not war. Because if you don't—" "If we don't?" Veltrak asked. Jinha looked at everyone in the room. "Then pray to your gods for mercy because humans won't give you any." All the aliens voted. They all said the same thing. The invasion would happen. As Jinha left the room, he knew something terrible was about to happen. The humans had a saying he learned on Earth. People who don't learn from history will repeat its mistakes. The Empire was about to learn that human history was written by people who never accepted defeat. Jinha walked away, knowing he had just watched the Empire take its first step toward the biggest defeat in galactic history. The war was coming, and the Empire had no idea what they were really fighting. Admiral Kethmore stood on his big warship. He looked out at Earth, a blue and green planet that looked pretty and peaceful. Around him, 50,000 warships floated in space like metal stars. It was the biggest attack force ever made. "Sir," a soldier said to him, "the humans are trying to talk to us." Kethmore laughed coldly. "Talk? After they see our ships? How funny. Let me hear them." The big screen turned on. A human woman appeared. She had dark hair and looked calm, even though she was about to die. "I am Harin," she said. "I speak for Earth. We want to talk peacefully with your empire." Kethmore smiled meanly. "I am Admiral Kethmore. You will give up now and let us take your planet. Fighting us is impossible." Harin's eyes stayed strong. "Admiral, we give you one chance to leave peacefully. This is our only warning." Everyone on the ship started laughing quietly. Kethmore got angry. "Your warning?" he said loudly. "Child, you face the power of 1,000 worlds. Your planet can't even fly between stars. What can you do to us?" Harin smiled a little, but her smile was scary. "Admiral, do you know about human history?" "I don't want history lessons," Kethmore said angrily. "You should want one," Harin said back. "If you knew our history, you would know we have been fighting impossible battles since we first walked on two legs. We have been outnumbered and outgunned. More times than your empire has fought wars, but we are still here." She leaned forward and her voice got stronger. "Every human child knows the story of 300 brave warriors who fought an army of thousands. Every human adult remembers great battles where we won when we should have lost. Every human carries the fire of those who refused to quit." Kethmore felt cold inside but didn't know why. "Pretty words won't stop our weapons." "You're right," Harin said. "But learning will. Changing will. And the one thing you can't count in your math, the thing that will make you lose this war, is that humans don't fight to win. We fight to survive. And surviving means everything to us." The screen went black. "Sir?" the soldier asked quietly. "What do we do?" Kethmore remembered Jinha's warnings. Then he pushed those thoughts away. 50,000 ships. The biggest attack force ever made. "Start the attack," he ordered. The first wave of small fighter ships flew toward Earth. Kethmore watched them go toward the planet's weak defenses. Just a few space stations and some basic ships. "Contact in 30 seconds, the soldier said. "Sir, we're seeing strange energy readings from the planet." "Strange how?" "The power levels keep changing, sir. It's like they're making new weapons while we watch." The fighter ships reached Earth's air and suddenly all the computer screens went crazy. Ships started disappearing but not destroyed, changed somehow. "What's happening?" Kethmore yelled. "Sir, the humans they're taking control of our fighters while they fly. But that's impossible. Their technology is hundreds of years behind ours." On the screen, Imperial fighters started shooting at each other. But it wasn't random. Someone was controlling them like a game. "How?" Kethmore whispered. A soldier looked up, his face white with fear. "Sir, we're getting a message from Earth. It's coming from inside our own computer systems." The screen flickered and a young human man appeared. He had smart eyes and dirty hands. Behind him was a messy workshop full of broken technology. "Admiral," the man said with a scary, friendly smile. "Thank you for the gifts. Your fighter ships have really interesting parts. I wanted to see how they work." "Impossible," Kethmore said quietly. "You can't have figured out your technology, made it work with our systems, used your own ships against you?" The man's smile got bigger. "Admiral, I fix things for a living. Do you know what people who fix things do? We make things work. We make things work better." He pointed to something they couldn't see, and suddenly every Imperial fighter near Earth went dark. "The thing about humans," the man continued like they were having tea, "is that we don't just learn from our mistakes. We learn from your mistakes. Every time you send something at us, we figure out how to use it better than you do." A soldier's voice was shaking. "Sir, we lost contact with all fighters in the first wave. All ships are either destroyed or working for them now." Kethmore stared at the screen. His own ships were now protecting Earth. "How many?" 2,000 fighters, sir. They're now part of Earth's defense. Call back the second wave," Kethmore said quietly. "Sir?" "Call back the second wave," he screamed, but it was too late. The second wave was already fighting and the same thing was happening again. Human cleverness, human learning, human refusal to accept defeat. As Kethamore watched his attack force being turned against itself, he realized Jinha was wrong about one thing. He hadn't brought too few ships, he had brought too many. 3 weeks had passed since the Empire's first attack on Earth. Deep underground in a city called Seoul, Harin stood in a room full of computers and screens. People were working everywhere, their faces bright with hope. "Give me the numbers," Harin called out. 17,000 Imperial ships now work for us, a worker said. 8,000 more are broken or destroyed. The rest are staying far away but haven't left. Harin nodded. Every attack made Earth stronger. Every weapon sent to destroy them became their weapon. The Empire was learning this lesson slowly and painfully. "Ma'am," another worker said. "Admiral Kethamore wants to talk to you. Put him on screen." The Admiral's face appeared. He looked much older than 3 weeks ago. His eyes looked tired and scared, like a man watching his world fall apart. "Harin," he said quietly. "I need to understand. How are you doing this?" Amdua looked at him for a long time before answering. "Admiral, you've been fighting easy wars for so long that you forgot what real fighting looks like. What do you do when your enemy has better weapons? You adapt," he said slowly. "Right. And what do you do when your enemy has more soldiers? You find ways to make your few soldiers worth more. Good. And what do you do when your enemy has a better position?" Kethamore was quiet for a moment. "You change the rules of the fight." Harin smiled sadly. "Admiral, you just described the last 10,000 years of human war. We never had better weapons. We never had more soldiers. We never had better positions. We only had one thing. We never had the luxury of fighting easy wars." Behind her, Quan looked up from his work table. His hands were inside an Imperial computer. "Ma'am, I found something good. Their long-distance talking system is still working. I can follow the signal back to their main computers." Harin's eyes got bright. "Can you get into it?" "Give me 6 hours," Quan said with confidence. He had already done impossible things many times. "But ma'am, if I break into their network, we won't just control their ships here. We'll control their whole military everywhere." Kethamore's face went white. "You can't. Our security codes are based on math that expects a certain level of smart technology," Quan interrupted. "But Admiral, sometimes the best way to break a code isn't to solve it. Sometimes you break the machine that reads it." He held up a strange device made from spare parts and hope. "This is a quantum resonance disruptor. I built it from pieces of your own ships. It doesn't break your codes. It makes your computers think they're allowed to read the codes themselves." "That's not how codes work," Kethamore said weakly. "It is if you're creative enough," Quan replied happily. "The thing about humans, Admiral, is that we don't just think outside the box. We take the box apart, use the pieces to build something completely different, and then use that to solve the first problem." Harin turned back to the screen. "Admiral, I'm going to make you a deal. Take your ships and leave. Go back to your empire and tell them what you saw here. Tell them that humans want to talk, but only as equals." "And if I say no?" Harin's face got hard. "Then Quan finishes his work, and we start turning your whole fleet against the Empire. Every ship you sent to conquer us becomes our weapon. Every technology you brought to destroy us becomes our tool." "You're talking about war with the whole galactic empire," Kethamore said. "Thousands of worlds, millions of ships." "Admiral," Harin replied quietly, "we've been at war with the galaxy since we first looked up at the stars and decided we belonged there. The only difference is that now the galaxy knows it too." She pointed to the big screen showing space around Earth. "Look at your fleet. Look at what we did in 3 weeks. We didn't just survive your attack. We turned it into our victory. We didn't just defend our world, we claimed yours." Kethamore looked at his own ships arranged around Earth like guards, their weapons pointing at what was left of his fleet. "This is crazy," he whispered. "No," Harin said. "This is humanity. We are the species that looked at fire and decided to control it. We are the species that looked at the ocean and decided to cross it. We are the species that looked at the sky and decided to own it. Did you really think we would look at the galaxy and decide to give up?" The call ended. "Ma'am," Quan called out. I have good news and bad news. The good news is I broke into their network. The bad news is there are a lot more of them than we thought. The Empire has over 1 million worlds, and they're sending everything. They have. Haran nodded slowly. Then we better get to work. If they want to see what happens when you corner a species that never learned to stay cornered, they're about to find out. She turned to her team. Begin Phase 2, time to take the fight to them. Outside, 50,000 Imperial ships hummed with new purpose, ready to fight. They had come to conquer Earth. Now they would help Earth conquer the galaxy. 6 months after Earth's first battle, the Galactic Council met again. But this time everyone was scared. Reports came in from all over the Empire. Fleets going silent, planets joining the humans, and worst of all, the impossible spread of human ideas across the galaxy. Jinha stood before the same aliens who had laughed at him, but now his words carried the weight of truth. Honored counselors, he began, I come back to you not to say, I told you so, but to tell you about the birth of a new galaxy. The humans have done what you said was impossible. They turned our own power against us. The old Supreme Chancellor looked tired and weak. Tell us, Jinha, how far has this problem spread? Problem? Jinha laughed bitterly. Chancellor, you still don't understand. This isn't a sickness, this is growth. 17 star systems have joined the human alliance, not because humans conquered them, but because they chose to join. Veltrak's blue skin flickered with worry. Impossible. No species would leave the Empire for a primitive world. Primitive? Jinha repeated. Let me tell you what these primitive humans have done. In 6 months, they built a communication network that reaches half the galaxy. They shared new technologies that advanced some species by hundreds of years. They offered friendship to any world that wanted freedom from Imperial control. He turned on a holographic map of the galaxy. A third of it now glowed blue, the color of the human alliance. But most importantly, Jinha continued, they showed the galaxy something it had forgotten, that it's possible to win against the Empire. Admiral Kethmore spoke from his seat. He now commanded only a few ships instead of thousands. The humans used our own ships to build bases in 16 star systems. Every time we try to take them back, more of our ships join them. How? Chancellor demanded. Our ships can't be hacked. They can't be hacked normally, Kethmore replied sadly. But humans don't attack normally. They use new ideas, quick learning, and something our military has no defense against, creativity. Suddenly, a calm voice filled the room. Haran's face appeared on the big screen. She was speaking from what looked like the control room of an Imperial warship. Honored counselors, she said with a small bow. I'm speaking from the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, the main ship of your former Third Fleet. Don't worry, your people are safe. Most chose to join us willingly. The room exploded with angry shouts, but Haran kept talking calmly. I'm not here to brag about winning. I'm here to offer you a choice. The same choice we've given to every world, every species, every person who faced the question of whether to kneel or stand tall. You dare threaten us, Veltrak snarled. I threaten no one, Haran replied peacefully. I'm offering you the chance to join the future, a future where no species bows to another, where new ideas matter more than old traditions, where impossible is just another word for not done yet. Chancellor struggled to stay calm. And if we refuse? Haran looked sad. Then you'll learn what Jinha tried to warn you about. You'll discover that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our fighting skills. It's our refusal to accept defeat as final. Behind her, Quan appeared on screen, working at controls. Chancellor, I've been studying your empire's communication systems. Did you know your whole empire depends on one central command system? It's very efficient. Also, very weak. What are you doing? Chancellor whispered. Giving you a demonstration, Quan replied cheerfully. In 30 seconds, every Imperial ship in the galaxy will get a simple message. You have a choice. The lights in the council room flickered as Quan worked. I'm not hacking your ships, he explained casually. I'm talking to your people. Every engineer who ever wondered if there was a better way. Every soldier who ever questioned orders. Every citizen who ever dreamed of something more than just surviving. Harin nodded to someone off-screen, and suddenly the display showed feeds from across the galaxy. On world after world, Imperial citizens looked up at screens showing the same message. You have a choice. This is what you don't understand about humans, Harin said. We don't conquer, we inspire, we don't defeat, we convert, we don't destroy, we build. The feeds showed something that terrified the counselors. Across the Empire, people were choosing. Not just aliens, but Imperial citizens themselves, walking away from their jobs and old lives to join something that promised hope instead of just order. You see, Jinha said quietly, the humans have done something we never imagined. They've made revolution look like evolution. They've made rebellion look like progress. They've made the impossible look inevitable. Chancellor stood slowly, his old body shaking. What do you want from us? Harin's smile was warm but strong. We want you to join us, Chancellor, not as servants, but as partners. Help us build something better than an empire. Help us build a galaxy where every species can reach for the stars. And if we refuse? Then you'll be the last to realize that the age of empires is over, Harin replied. The age of alliance has begun. The question isn't whether you'll join us, the question is whether you'll help build the future or become part of the past. The transmission ended, leaving the council room completely silent. Jinha looked at the faces of beings who had once called him crazy, now watching everything they knew crumble. There's one more thing, he said quietly. Something I learned on Earth. Humans say, the only thing that never changes is change itself. But they also say, change or die. He paused. The humans have already changed. The question is, will we? Outside, across the galaxy, the blue markers of the human alliance kept spreading. Not through war, but through choice. Humanity had done the impossible. They had turned a war for survival into a revolution for freedom, and that was the most human thing of all.